If you can see next to your name, there is a microphone that is green if it's activated, and if you click on it, it's red if you don't want to have your voice activated right now. All right, we can go ahead and get started. And as other people join us, then we'll just make sure that we can welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Would you
Thanks.
Camera. Oh, yes, actually, we can put our camera on so you know who you're talking to. And I think there's only a limited amount of spots for those who are not. Hi, everybody. Those of you who are not using your camera, there's a few spots if you'd like to, so feel free to
We would love it if you would like to. It's kind of weird to just look at ourselves while we're talking to you, and it's nice to have other faces to look at. So if you want to be brave and share your picture, that would be great.
Yes, feel free. So welcome. We're so glad that you all are taking the time this afternoon. I know everyone has busy schedules, and we are very grateful that you're taking the time for such an important topic. My name is Rachel Heron, and I am a patent specialist for the state. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. I'm Bruce Kofer, and I work at DOE in special education.
Yeah. So if you would like to either not unmute yourself. I don't know if unmute's a word, but mute yourself, or in the chat box, just let us know who you are and where you're coming from. We'd love to know who's out there. Can everybody hear us okay?
If you could type, or you could just say who you are, that we would appreciate that.
And if you're looking for the chat area, it's at the bottom of your screen, and there's a little box. Denise in Tell City. Oh, super. Thank you, Denise. Denise, what's your background? Oh, hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer are you the one has the group of folks with you today?
No.
Okay, there's somebody else. I've gotten confused. We got a couple. We're running two of these today. This one and another one for Northwest Indiana, and so I've got all the groups mixed up in my brain.
Perfect. And we have Roger Williams from Roger Jennings County Schools. Super. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Denise. You're an SLP. Wonderful.
And Roger, you're the director there, aren't you?
Yes.
I get a point.
Yay, what for you? Super. And I'm sure that we'll have more join as we go. And I'm hoping that people tend to.
Oh, we have another Kristen out there. You got to love that.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Super. All right. Would you like this, or do you want to use your own?
I was just going to try and make this bigger so I could see who's with us.
Terrific. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. And please, if you have information, there's a little icon that you have that raises your hand if you're muted, and of course, you are also welcome to unmute. I think we have a smaller group here than other districts today, so that might not be so confusing.
And people may pop in as the school day ends, hopefully.
Absolutely. All right, so we will go ahead and get started. We've already introduced ourselves. Just to talk, we'd just like to talk a little bit today about what the COP is and what the initiative of the COP is, and hopefully how that will disperse out to all of you. So, Kristen, would you like to share a little bit about?
I'm just going to move. I'm looking at two screens. Sorry about that. We're trying to see what we look like and what we're reading here too. So, our community of practice, we have a couple of them going on for this group for communication community of practice. So every student has a voice. And so we started it because when we switched over to iStar, you were able to now say if there was no mode of communication. And so before we never tracked those students, and now we can, and we can see how many there are. And if we, DOE and patents, can help together with this, we'd like to do that. And so we have kind of a core group that's looking at some of that, but we also want to regionally with you guys. And so that's what we're doing today. We've got 5 regions across the state, and we're hoping, we tried to limit it so just folks like for you guys are in the Southeast region, meeting together, so that if you find somebody has a situation similar to yours or resources or this or that, maybe you'd want to meet with them outside of this time. And it'd be easier than if you met someone online, you know, way up in Maryville or something, and that's not going to be too helpful to you. So that's why we tried to do the regions. But as you can see with the definition there, so you have diverse disciplines or backgrounds within special education. So everybody's got their different specialties. But we want to share ideas, strategies, processes. Everybody's got the same agenda here. Like we said, trying to get communication in whatever form we can for every single student. And then also the bottom one, then a group of professionals who care deeply about a common issue, and we want to work together voluntarily. So we really appreciate that you've come on your free time. You know, hopefully school's over for you, and you could be going home or working on lesson plans or grading papers, but instead you've come to chat with us, and we really appreciate that. And we hope that collaboratively we can work through, even if we can't solve all the problems, we can, you know, put a dent in some of them. So
Absolutely.
that's kind of our goal.
Our small but mighty group.
Yeah.
So wonderful. So some of our promises for each of the meetings, because we hope to periodically be holding the meetings, and I'm glad that you check the Facebook pages. I hope that you're a part of the Facebook pages that we have for each area. But we want to make sure that we share tidbits with you that might help with communication. And that's our next little point on our agenda, is to share a little communication, and then to really tackle some of the issues that you're having in your areas, and to make sure that we as a community are talking about those and trying to do a bit of problem solving and troubleshooting. So,
and that you can learn your local patents person too. I mean, although all the patents folks, even if they're in one area, they still can help anybody throughout the whole state. But if you know who your local person is, then that doesn't hurt also. So
yep, absolutely.
More resources.
More resources. All right. So we'll just start really quickly with a AT Corner. And this is one of our other patent specialists. Her name is Jessica Conrad, sharing a strategy with you.
And it may be that the video is off from what her mouth is saying, but if you listen, you'll be able to get what she's trying to say.
Absolutely. Whoops. Sorry.
So if we double click on that.
Well,
oh, there goes. Yay, perfect.
Hi, I'm Jessica Conrad, a patent specialist, and I'm doing a quick overview of one successful solution for AAC implementation. So I want to share a quick story about how I became a huge fan of universal AAC classrooms. A student was brought to me and my team members for a consultation. He was in preschool and had significant behaviors and significant speech and language difficulties, among other difficulties. His teacher and speech language pathologist both suspected he could understand much more than he was ever able to communicate, but was making no progress with his picture exchange system. Upon review of his case information, his present levels, and discussion with the team, I agreed to implement
Sorry, is everybody having a hard time hearing that video?
And can you hear us now?
Okay, so you can hear us, but you can't hear the video when we turn it on?
Well, that's a bummer because we practiced and I went in another room and it worked, but it's not working today, of course, the day we really need it. So we can just put the link up then instead when we post this PowerPoint, we can put the link there. So
absolutely.
Thanks for telling us so it doesn't just go on and on and on and you guys are sitting there. So
and it's a really good strategy. What we really wanted to do for this first time of being able to talk with you was to allow you to have something that you could take away and print off and use immediately in some of your classrooms, just as a trial to see if it worked, because one of our passions is to make sure that every student has a voice and that voice is not taken away, and that student has access to the voice wherever they go. And this is a good strategy for that. So definitely peruse that later. All right. So just in our world, these are just a few upcoming trainings that are happening across Indiana. There's a LAMP training that is in St. John, Indiana, March 23rd and 24th for LAMP. And then there's a PEX training in Indianapolis. Both of these are trainings that require payment, but we will definitely keep you apprised if there are free trainings around the state too. And then of course there's ATAIA in Florida in January, and that is a really great all-inclusive. There's a lot of communication-based strategies that will be happening there. So if you could talk your school corporations into sending you to Florida, that would be another valuable thing.
And then you don't even have all the patents ones up there too. So if you went to the patents website, you could see, I don't think that is one of our slides coming up, is it?
No, it isn't. Okay. We'll make sure that we send that information out to you. Oh, good. I'm glad you caught that.
You guys are free, so that's
we're free.
So that's part two.
I always forget that one's close to home.
Yeah.
So. But
plus they can request you too. So even if there's something on the patent site and it doesn't quite fit what you need, then you call this lovely lady and you can figure out if it's her or one of the other specialists that can help and come on out.
Absolutely. We have a communication specialist, but we also have other specialists who have SLP backgrounds who have really great information if you want that one-to-one work at your school. So thank you so much for bringing that up. So are there any opportunities in your area that you'd like to share with each other? Feel free to use that chat box or to unmute yourself if you know of anything that's coming around.
And the reason we asked this is because we were, again, trying to get everybody in the same region together and knowing what's going on. You probably know a lot about your own district, and if you're not in a co-op, that may be all you know. But if the district next to you has something, and we don't care if other people come, it costs the same amount, whether 10 people are there or 150 people are there. If we can get you guys to develop contacts with each other, we'd like to.
Yep. Super. Okay, so Roger Williams said that there's nothing in his district at this time. And please feel free the rest of this meeting that if you have something that you'd like to share, feel free to put your hand up or to just type it in your box or unmute yourself.
And we've mentioned the Facebook page, and I know some people have signed up, and I don't, again, have it memorized for each area who signed up for which one. But when you sign up for this, there was also the link to the Facebook page for this region. And so if you're on that and you do have trainings, if it would be okay for other people to come to, if you don't mind posting that, or again, throw out questions there because we're on those as well. Mm-hmm. And then kind of use that as a way to communicate with each other for quick little things, or again, to let everybody know what's going on.
Yep.
Bringing people together,
making that bridge go all the way across. So one of the things, as we mentioned before, that we really, really wanted to focus on today was what's happening in your area. And now that we have, different people attending today who might have different backgrounds in this area, what are some of the different specific student cases you'd like to look at, whether you've had successes or problem-solving suggestions for other people. Some of the ideas that I threw out were data tracking and keeping services going from year to year, because I know in the meetings that we had in the spring, those were definitely points that people wanted to address. Is, you've got that student, what happens next year when the student moves to a different school? And if that student moves to another school, how do we keep the services going for that student? So would anybody like to throw out a specific student case to discuss? Feel free to unmute yourself.
It might be easier
speak.
than chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot to write sometimes. And this is a no blame type of thing either. We are, everybody's here to help each other. So if you want to say, well, we've tried this with this student, they're in this grade, not sure what to do so far, anything, even a small thing or a big one that's sticking out.
Tips and tricks that you think might work for other people.
Yeah.
Do we have any classroom teachers who have signed on? Or SLPs who are working with students? I know that my background is in essential skills classrooms and also working with students who have emotional behavioral disturbances. And one of the things that I found with communication that we mentioned a little bit before was, how do you tackle a student who has a communication device that's happening? Oh, great, Jennifer, super, she's a classroom teacher. Are you an essential skills classroom, or are you a different type of classroom teacher? I'll wait for her response. But you know, you have a student who has a device and they're becoming very successful with it at school, but it gets stuck in the backpack, and you can tell when the student comes back in on Monday that that's never ever been taken out of the backpack for that child to have a voice all weekend. Or even the reverse of that. You know, I've had in the past parents who have been very insistent. Oh, K through 5 self-contained, super. So students who, you know, parents are very, very positive that the students have been using a device in a way that you don't see it happen in the classroom, and how that is addressed, and how you've been dealing with that. Has anybody had that issue? Okay, so Denise is saying, I have a question about LAMP versus PECS, more specifically with picture discrimination and moving the pictures to ensure discrimination versus keeping the same motor movement, especially with the students with autism. That's a great question. You know, I definitely, what I'm going to do is I am going to write down, we have specialists on our team who are really, really familiar with all of the properties of LAMP and PECS.
Here, I can get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Super. So Denise, what we're going to do is take down some of these questions and then hit a lifeline with them. I would like to say that I know the answers for that. And I'm curious, is there anybody else who's online who has delved into the LAMP versus PECS discussion? No. It's an awful lot of pressure on a few people, isn't it?
And that's okay. I mean, and we know that this is going to take a while for all of us to get used to each other and talking, and this kind of format, it's kind of weird sometimes too. So
absolutely. And I think that one of the things that we're going to discuss as we go is, what kind of questions do we have? Or do we have questions that you would like to have one of our specialists from one of these areas come on and just prep with a bunch of questions to be able to ask about specific programs, because we definitely have people who can answer those questions.
So we can make this little mini PDs, or not even the whole hour. It doesn't have to be that. It's and the purpose of doing this is to find out, what do you need and how can we help you with that. So if it can't be this time, and we do this maybe monthly or every other month, probably monthly if you have this question, you'd rather know sooner rather than later, and we can try and work that out for next time.
Okay, so we've noted the LAMP versus PECS discussion. Any tips or tricks that have worked with students that don't have visible signs of communication in your classrooms? I think one of the things that I like about the short video that I encourage you to go back and watch at the beginning of this meeting is that no matter what you do, it just needs to be present across all boards. And Jessica Conrad, the person who was doing the video at the beginning, really did a good job in some of our county schools around our office by bringing this program in and making sure that this wasn't just available in an essential skills classroom, that there were pictures with the core words and the fringe words for the students in every environment that that student might go into. And so it wasn't necessarily a board, but a poster in a classroom, so that when that student walked into the classroom and needed a lifeline for communication, that was posted throughout the school for that student, and getting staff on board to realize that that's what that meant, whether a student was in a specials classroom or
and it doesn't have to be high tech and expensive either.
No.
With this group, we can look at everything. And if it does need to be high tech and expensive, we can look at that too. Patents has lots of things that you can borrow from them, as well as we've got some special programs through DOE, through Patents, to help fund some of these items that if they don't have them or they're just too much, that we'll work on helping you guys with that.
Yep. Okay, are there any other questions or student scenarios that you would like to throw out at this point?
If you think about the student that you just are having the toughest time with communication, struggling the most. And if you don't now, you didn't know what to expect from this, if you want to ask either other teachers in your building or across your district and bring those cases the next time, whether they come or they send them to you and you're the liaison, then we can try and do that too. So I know this first one's a little different since we haven't been through this before. So.
Okay, so Jennifer said, all of my current students have some way to respond. I will be getting students with more intense multiple disabilities soon and have never worked with this type of student. So just looking for ideas. And I think that is probably, I think when you say that, it makes me reflect back to this core board of information, that when you have a student who moves in and you have no idea where they are, it is a starting board for them. And so, definitely go back and watch that video when you can still see it. And that the audio should come through. It came through for us. I'm not sure how that translated inappropriately, but I kind of feel like that is, when you ask teachers to have lesson plans, and then you have this student who's, who moves in and you have no idea where their levels are or what they're doing. And you don't know where to start. You just need something to start. And I think that core board is a good way to go.
And being proactive about it and thinking about it now, maybe thinking about how you're going to keep data on what you are using and what's working and not working and how long are you trying devices or boards or whatever it may be. I think those are great things to start thinking and planning right now.
Yep. All right. So Roger said, with most devices, a student needs to make a choice. What if the student does not make choices consistently? This is hard. It's really hard. And
are you keeping the data? I guess that would be, go back to that same thing that I said. Is it certain settings? How frequent is it that they're making the choices? Is it the same at home, like you mentioned before?
Absolutely. And I think that sometimes what you need out of a student is just a consistent yes. You just need to know that student has a response in general. And there are some students out there that we don't see even the consistent yes with. So that's another really good question that we need to address and pull up information for future meetings. Definitely. Super. And
is it the right question that you're asking too? Because maybe the answer choices you're giving them are not the answer that they want to give you. So I don't know, what the question was that definitely like, do you need the restroom? Yes or no? I would think there'd be an answer to that. But if it's something, do you like apples or oranges, but they really want bananas? But that's not the choice. And so I don't know, what you're asking. And so maybe that would lead to part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Denise said, I've laminated the core words for the life skill classrooms here at my school, and we do lots of modeling. I'm worried about how that will translate to a device that has multiple hits to say the same vocabulary. I think that that's a good question. I mean, that's a good statement to make because I know that when we move students, I mean, I know as a teacher that one of my worries was to whether it's communication or whether it's any other type of technology, you introduce them to one certain kind, and then you feel like that will never expand or translate to another device. And, you know, what we see with kids, if you have those core boards that you're talking to and they have the motoric, you know, memory for that, then if you move them to a technical device or a higher tech device, then they still have that motoric memory so that you would just go along with that for the next device, you know, of course, taking data over whether they could use that or not. But yeah, I feel like kids are normally more resilient when they hand more devices than we are with them because we're more set in our ways with that. But I guess that really depends on the limitation of the student and, of course, the individual student that you're working with. But I think it's good to go with the core words to start because if you see progress with that, that can definitely lead into something else that reflects that same motoric pattern for them.
And I don't know if, again, this would be a patents type of question. So when you would go to borrow one, you maybe would ask some questions. And even if you already have some of these, and like you said, you're switching from one to another, maybe check in with someone. I don't know who would the best,
Julie. Julie
would be
Julie
good,
Kuhn.
because they have had experience with many, and transferring and changing from one to another, that might be a way to check too before you go ahead and switch if one device seems to be more smoothly transferred for more than somebody else. So
Absolutely. So Denise says, I'm also running into students with limited interests. It's hard to introduce more vocabulary than the student wants to use. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's really hard if you have a kid who is...
It's my son only wants to talk about sports.
Right.
Sports only. It's not sports. You're out of luck.
And I feel like you're lucky if you find that even the one thing that
that's
they're interested in sometimes, you know, I mean, it's hard to know depending on, you know, the level of the student or, you know, what's been tried in the past of what they even want to do. And
I'd say keep on trying.
Keep on trucking, you know, or introducing things and looking for the spark. You know, I mean, I think that sometimes we fall into thinking that students like the things that the other students in the classroom like, when it might be something completely different out there. So, you know, trying even a further.
You maybe bring in the parents on this one. I don't know if you do the questionnaire sheet with the parents fill out on their students when they are in class. I know I've done that with my own kids. And what are their big interests? And maybe the parents have the key to that, and you just don't think about it. Or we've also seen, oh gosh, now I can't think of her name from PRC. I know Beth. She comes with her bag of tricks, and I know lots of SLPs have their bag of tricks, and so you pull out all these random toys until maybe that one thing will spark somebody, and you can tell that one made the difference. And so I don't know if that would help also, rather than talking about it, but seeing an object, if that would do something, or pictures, or little video clips or something, short video clips.
Absolutely. But I understand what you're saying, Denise, because I feel like, you know, we all fall into the pattern of I learn best what I like to learn. And I learn best in the way that I appreciate it being presented to me. And so finding that like and interest really makes the job a lot easier. So besides a bag of tricks and perseverance with it, we'll definitely throw this out to the team and see if there's any other recommendations that we can share with you. All right. Is there anybody else out there who has a thought or an idea about something that somebody's already shared? I think you've given us a lot of good ideas of things that we need to start looking at and addressing, and who to bring in to answer some more of these more specific questions about communication. So let's talk about next steps for this. If you would like to participate in further meetings, you know, does it work on a Monday afternoon or, you know, after school, during school, before school? What do you think? Is it usually easier for you to get to have time after school? Okay, so Kristen says after school works best for me. Okay, so this time is okay, or a little bit later? Yeah. Okay.
So far so good with that.
Perfect.
Okay.
And any time of any weekday that's better. 3:00, says Jennifer. Perfect. This time is perfect. Good. So any day of the week that's better than others. We hit the Monday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm surprised any of you are here.
You're dedicated. If
You
you're
are
here.
dedicated.
You get a little gold sticker today.
Not this time on Friday. Absolutely, Roger.
Yeah, we're with you on that too.
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing another one after this for a different region on a different time zone, so we totally understand.
Yes.
Nobody wants to go too late.
No. Any other days, or do Mondays usually work?
Hopefully they don't have a lot of staff meetings. I guess we can try again for another Monday. And then if different people come to the next one and we find out, oh, that's why the people that signed up weren't able to come, is because it's a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Mondays are just overwhelming anyhow, but, or it's good. Stay late, get it over with, free the rest of the week.
Yes, I think data shows Thursdays are the worst days to try to get anything done, because you're done,
Yeah.
but you're not quite done. Okay, so Mondays are fine, Kristen says.
Right.
Perfect. We'll schedule the next one for a Monday. And so you've given us some really, frequency of meetings.
Do we want it every month?
Mm-hmm.
Every other month? I feel like every month hopefully isn't too much of a burden on you for extra time, but yet, like with all the questions that you just asked, we want to maybe consider it to getting feedback to you quickly. Now, of course, we don't always have to wait and do it on here. We could send an email to you guys because you signed on and say, hey, real quick, these are the answers, or actually maybe post it on Facebook. That way to get everybody to benefit from your questions and the answers that we get. But if we did need someone to do a little presentation, I'd hate for you to wait too long, but I don't want to overburden anybody. So if you can tell us how, if you think monthly or not.
Yeah, Jennifer says monthly is okay. Is that okay with everybody else?
Of course, you don't have to come to every single one of them. We know you have a life too, but
Absolutely.
At least we would be here.
Yes. Yes. Okay, super. Okay, sounds good. Everybody's responding. Yes, terrific. So meetings, topics. You've given us some good topics to think about this time, but are there any other additional topics that you would like for us to tackle over the next few months?
Do you want to go back one slide? I
can't
remember if there was anything on there, like any of those things help. Would you want to come with a student in mind? Or you want to talk about data, and we can have somebody come in and these are things. Oh, good. We got one.
So initiating a communication model with a student.
Okay.
Terrific. Data tracking. It's huge.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. We have trial forms that we've used in several different school corporations that I think are really, really helpful. And we can post those on the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
Roger says, have you found that there are any students with no mode of communication, or is it a matter of not finding a mode?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I would like to think that there is a mode of communication maybe on a level that we haven't considered with a student for every student. And I think we owe it to the students to try to find that voice and to allow that communication. I know, just speaking frankly as a teacher, that I have had students in my classroom in the past that left me really scratching my head and wondering if there was a mode of communication. But it didn't mean that I didn't try and I didn't keep on going. And one of the things that I found really valuable to use with the students that I wasn't sure was to figure out what that yes was, what that yes looked like. That could be an eye shift off to the corner, or a blink, or throwing your arms back, an enjoyment, to be able to connect with some different things, and taking that yes and being able to move forward with it. We actually did journal writing with students that was facilitated based on them being able to tell us yes, and not really knowing. I mean, I think that we've learned a lot across, at least I've learned across my career, that there are students out there who don't appear to have that mode. And when you find that mode, they've got a lot inside. I've had students who have been on grade level after thinking that they were literally sitting in a classroom receiving nothing. And it was finding that mode. Mm-hmm. And I think that the coolest thing about where we live and how we are now is that we have new technology that comes out every single day. And, there might be something tomorrow that we never even dreamed of today that could help students and get in there. So,
that just made me think when we talk about specific student cases, maybe next time you could talk about one, like you were just saying, and that'd be a great way to get everybody else started on and saying how you found that mode and how long it took and those kinds of things. So
I totally agree.
Trying that.
So Roger said, what you're saying is very hard with nonverbal students. I agree. And I am speaking about nonverbal students. I mean, many of the students in my classroom did not have a mode of communication. They were, during the time period, referred to as medically fragile students. And most of their day, to me, was positioning to be comfortable and making sure that we had feeding schedules and lots of stimulation, for the student. But when I say journaling, I'm not talking about a student picking up a pencil and starting to write. I'm talking about figuring out that an eye blink could mean yes. And then asking questions to the student and engaging with that student to figure out patterns and what they may or may not be doing. And I'm never going to be the person who's going to say that I don't think that there's a mode of communication for every kid. But I think that finding that is really hard sometimes and time consuming, time consuming things that we know that teachers, face every single day with a group of students who are equally needy. And I understand what you're saying there, Roger. Absolutely.
And again, patents can come in. And work with that.
We like to come into the classroom. And I think that the hard thing saying that coming in, I think that one of the things is that, we've got those kids that you see in person and then those kids that are on paper. And our conversations right now strike me as more as on paper students, I mean, you don't know what they're really like until they're sitting right in front of you and you can try some different things with them and really truly see what the roadblocks are and the barriers are that teachers are facing with that particular student, since everybody's an individual. All right. Any other topics that you might want us to tackle in the next meetings? I really appreciate your participation. I know that with just a few people on the other end, we're asking an awful lot of you.
And this is our first time, so appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a work in progress. As we each figure out what we can give or take to each other, you guys and us, then we'll work through it.
So Denise says, you talked about Beth Ahmad's bag of tricks. What are some examples of activities that you've had success with students for communication? It's funny. Can you see over my shoulder this Elmo up here? It's these types of things. I share an office with an SLP, and this is one of the things that I love. And of course, what little kid doesn't love a Muppet? I don't know if there we go. But this Elmo actually connects to an app on a computer where this Elmo will speak to a student and interact and definitely engages a student back and forth. If you have a student who has who's on the spectrum, who has a hard time making conversation with you, but might not have a problem speaking through somebody like Elmo, or just a cause and effect type of thing to see, is your student who seems to have no visible sign of communication, are they responding at all? Are they smiling when they see this? Do they reach out? I mean, there are a lot of different ways that you can see, but this is really just one of those bag of trick kind of things. And I will say, if you get on the Patents website, you can check out from our library all sorts of cause and effect and interactive toys. This one belongs to the person who is in my office. So you can't check this one out. But there are other ones on the website. So I really encourage you to go to patentsproject.com and go into the library to be able to
what's the robot's name? Can't I think of it off the top of my head?
You're talking about Osmo.
Osmo, yeah.
Yes.
Osmo, the robot.
Yes. Absolutely. So there's lots of different things. So Denise said, I would love to use patents more, but I have trouble with getting items back. You mean returning the items or getting items from
the
patents?
Students aren't, or the,
So getting the items back to patents? returning the items to Pattons. Well, and I think that that's the other thing. So this is how I feel about the items that you check out from any lending library. If you have a good data sheet, and the one that I'm going to put on the Facebook page is the WADI data sheet. I know that for those of you who have used the WADI in the past, it's old, but the forms are still relevant, even though I feel like they need to be updated. But the trial sheet, if you have a cause and effect something that you have checked out of the Pattons library, and you have shown that that really works for a particular student and it shows growth with that student, and you're tracking that data, then I think that when your schools ask you for dollars or for suggestions of things, that's what you go for, and you can back that up with data that you've taken. Mm-hmm. And I'm one of those fly by the seat of my pants kind of heart-based teachers that for a long time did not understand how important the data piece of that was for the funding, because we're all heart, but people on the next level up are looking for the hardcore numbers to be able to do that. So so I hear what you're saying. Getting it back and actually having something, I'm assuming that's what you're saying, Denise, is that returning them and not having that item in the classroom to still be using with your student.
Unless you meant that something happens and it breaks, or the student takes it home and doesn't return it. If that's it, or you only, how many weeks do you guys get when you have a device?
I think it's
6 weeks.
I think it's 100 and, well, am I getting my mixed up with the other? I think it's 120 days.
Is that so right? Many days, and then I don't know if no one else wants it. If you could keep it, you can keep it. Okay,
yeah.
So at least that helps. Check before you have to return it if somebody's on the waiting list, and if they're not, then hopefully keeping it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Actually, paying for the shipping and driving 15 minutes one way is a barrier. Oh, I get you.
Okay.
I get you. Denise, where are you? Tell City. Okay.
I wonder if we could,
we need to work on that, because that is an issue. That is an issue.
I would think that people are coming to and from.
Yeah. Let me get on that.
That's going to go on our list too, because we don't want that to be a barrier at all. And so I don't know the ins and outs of how you guys ship and how that all works. So
yeah,
we will.
There might be some things that I don't know. I'm relatively new, so yeah.
But I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. And driving 50 minutes anywhere. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine. All right. So we've gotten some good topics from you, and we've gotten some good information from you for upcoming meetings. Do you have any questions or comments that you would like to make? Anything that you'd like to throw out there? I feel like the exciting purpose of these meetings is that somebody is listening and this information is going somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's very promising to me in this field, to know that you are being listened to. Okay, well, please, I'm going to flip forward. This is Kristen's email address and her title, and I'll also share mine with you as well. I would encourage you to please, me in particular, when it comes to
the nitty-gritty questions.
The nitty-gritty questions, please feel free.
I'm the broad one. She is specific.
We can definitely get you where you need to be. So there is Kristen's information, and I'll give you a second to write that down, and actually you'll have this information. We're recording this session as well, so you can have access to this later. And then here's me. And so, please feel free to contact us. And if you have, in between now and the next meeting that pops up, if you have some topics that you would like to discuss and you want to make sure that makes it into one of the upcoming meetings, I really encourage you to send that information along too. That would be really beneficial to us.
We don't want to talk about things that you don't need help with. We want to get to the things that you want. So this was a good fact-finding time for us today, and then hopefully moving forward, it can be a little more practical for you.
Yep.
And if you have others that can join with you, whether you sit together at a computer or if they want to log in separately, we do have a limit of about 25, 26. So if you can be together, that's always good. Then more people can jump on, and hopefully this will grow. We know that it's going to start kind of in the baby steps, baby phases at first, but hopefully more people join in.
Yep.
So
absolutely. And thank you so much. If there aren't any further questions, oh, thank you, Denise. We appreciate it so much. I really hope that this becomes a good collaborative meeting for your region and that you guys can all kind of interconnect amongst yourselves as well, because I think that that's also another important thing that needs to happen for us to feel supported. So if you would like to have PGP points for today, please click on, or actually you can't click on this, but please, you can if I send it to you, which I will. But feel free to take this bit.ly and it'll direct you to just a brief questionnaire that will give you a certificate that allows you to put that into your PGP points. All right, thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate it so much. All right, if you don't have any further questions or any comments that you would like to make, we just really appreciate you being here today and look forward to further collaboration with you and to get some of these questions answered for you in the best way possible. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you logging in today.
Thank you. Bye.